All right, welcome everyone. I'm Ann Vogel from Dragon Tail Books, and tonight we're finishing off our writing genealogy series with John Fassbender from the Dunn County Genealogical Society. So I'm going to explain the resources they have and hopefully maybe set up an appointment.
Oh,
But thank you so much for coming.
no problem.
It's been,
As you said, I'm John Fassbender. So, I've been doing genealogy about 14 years, and I just fill in kind of hook, line, and sinker. Then it's like I wish I would have started about 20 years sooner, because there's some people I'd really love to talk to that I can no longer talk to. So, but anyway, this is kind of about this research we have that kind of help you fill in the dash, so to speak. So. We're located in the Dunn County Historical Society, their Aspect Museum. That's north end of Wakanda Park. Come in, the desk, you'll just ask for, yeah, I'm here to see the genealogy, and they'll point you to our library. So first thing, like genealogy is just about the study of your relatives. And some people can be sticklers about, oh, it can only be the blood relatives, but to me, family isn't always about blood. But so it's like just investigating them. Like I said, it's a very popular hobby, and the second most commonly stuff to search for on the internet. So
we're going to know that. Yeah.
So, oops. So it's it's not just any one thing, because it's like, to me, I figure it's the best crossword puzzle and jigsaw puzzle all in one. That's never finished, and you don't know what the final picture is going to look like. But so there's a lot of stuff online. There's a lot of stuff that's not online, and then there's detective work, having to trace down stuff. Sometimes you'll have to go to courthouses or hire someone to go do that for you. And lots of reading. History helps, because it's like, what were your relatives doing? What was conditions in the country when they decided to leave, or even out of the state? What caused them to move from one state to the other? What was going on? So it all adds up. So. I mean, the best thing is just start with what you know. And either start writing it down, or I also do recommend, if you got a computer, and get a genealogy program. I mean, that's the easiest way to keep it organized. There's a lot of free ones out there. Roots Magic has a free version. Legacy is now free. It used to be a paid one. And there's others. And I mean, I use Family Tree Maker, which doesn't have a free one, but genealogy programs are like cards. Some people swear by boards, others swear at boards. So it's like, some people might try a couple different until you find one that works the way you want it to work. So I mean, there's no one program's better than the other. It's just they've each got their own little niche.
Is some link like online so that other people can find it, or so like if you create a tree, like if you use Legacy or like one of the free ones, those get loaded online so other family members can find it?
Some offer that. Roots Magic does offer a way of publishing it online. Others, like Family Tree Maker, will directly interface with Ancestry, and you can create a tree on Ancestry for free. You only need a paid subscription to do research. But you can add, delete, you can invite other family members to it. It won't cost them a penny. So, and other programs like Legacy, I think might start interfacing with MyHeritage. But I mean, otherwise, any genealogy program can export to it. It's called a GEDCOM format. It's just a universal database, genealogy database format. And then that can get uploaded to Ancestry or any other places. So, but it's like we start with what you know. Start with yourself, your parents, siblings, your grandparents. Some people, if you know your great grandparents, you know, whatever, got a family Bible, maybe you can start with. But just start with what you know. And then from there, then you can go about trying to prove it. But you know, and don't forget like dates, places. Places are important because you'll find a lot of people with the same names. And you know, if someone was born, raised in Wisconsin, then all of a sudden it's like, well, here's a Ted Johnson, but he's in Georgia. Mm-hmm. Maybe he traveled there for some. I mean, we've all got military members where they get stationed all over the place. It's like, I mean, I've got my first cousins, 5 kids, 5 different states. Mm-hmm. And also cite your sources. And I mean, there's big books on how to properly do it. In a nutshell, just make sure you know where that information came from. Because sooner or later, you will get conflicting information. Mm-hmm. And so it's important to be able to determine, okay, what information is more likely? Because if you got like a death certificate, your Uncle Ted said he was born in, say, Menominee here, but then say you find their marriage certificate and say, well, no, he was actually born in Colfax. You know, okay, they're close, but you know, probably the marriage certificate is probably more accurate because it's closer to the event. And plus, for the death certificate, he wasn't the one that said that. It was his wife or child or one of their kids that more than likely did it. So it's a little further away from the actual event. So, and like I said, don't forget also like the scrapbooks, school records. There's lots of things that can tell you like who their friends were. And if I mean, obviously, if it's a great grandparent, none of their classmates are going to be alive. But if they're more recent, it's like you never know. It's like, you know, what stories they might have about you folks, or you know, contacting people is where you get the stories from. So that don't necessarily get written down. So start with a pedigree chart. It's a good start. You know, where basically it lists you, your parents, grandparents. And it's a good way to reference to let you know what you do know and what you don't know. So you might have a tree built out up to here, but then this line is like, oh, I don't go this far. You know, I've got an example of one. And stuff on it, you know, will basically it'll just record its basic information like birth, death, places. So here's like typically what it would look like. You write your name in there. This is like manually said birth, death, where they married. C would be even where they're christened or baptized. So, and then it goes to the parents. And then likewise, when you get to this person, say, you know, this person's parents, you'd start another tree, and then basically this person would become this one. And you label the charts, and so it's like, okay, this is chart 1, but then this person, okay, he'll start on chart 2. So you'll grab another blank one, label it 2. Then you'll put this person down there as the starting person for that one. So
this is you and then parents and grandparents.
What about parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-greats.
So how do you do the siblings? Or are you getting
this one you wouldn't do the siblings. Okay. That will be coming up. Okay. This will be on a.
So the basic is you up.
Yeah. Another standard thing is the family group record. So you'll put the husband, the wife. You'll put like birth, death. You'll also put like who their parents are. And then, then if they were married more than once, you could put the other things, and the same thing for the wife. And then you list the children, and then who their spouses are. And then likewise, then if your child's got a child, then you'll start another group record with that child as the husband or the wife, and then, so basically each family group sheet will have for that family unit. So, and if you have someone, where, okay, it's a second spouse, and say they had children from that, you have another sheet. So, and then, and it can also be useful to keep a research log just for what you have checked, what you haven't checked. And one add-on with the research log is even if you checked a certain area, especially online, periodically go back and check again, because they're always adding records or expanding records. So, but basically, And so here's kind of like a typical thing of what to do, and like here's just all the different types of stuff, between the census records. Census records, that's kind of like the low-hanging fruit, because they're easy to get at, like on Family Search. And Family Search is a free site. You just have to register. But then like church records, some of these are online, some you have to go to the church. Court records, education, employment, home records, immigration, newspapers. That's a nice place of getting stories and stuff. So, but there's lots of areas.
Do you have, well, you probably get into it, I'll ask at the end.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was, do you have, because I know Stout had some newspapers, like Dunn County newspapers, index.
We've got
You have the index?
almost all of the Dunn County news,
Oh.
and not on microfilm. We've got the papers.
Oh.
We find and save them. They're bound in these big books.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and are they indexed so you can get to the name, or I think that's
through the Menominee Library, you can get to newspapers.com where they've got it. So usually what I'll do is I'll search there on the Menominee Library site. And then sometimes the index works, sometimes it doesn't, searching. But sometimes they'll say, oh, it's here, and it's like an ad, and they'll have something highlighted that it's not even a word.
Mhm.
So, usually it's pretty good though.
Yeah.
But then it's like, and then sometimes I'll just take a copy there, but sometimes, the images are fuzzy.
Mhm.
So, and then I'll go to our actual copy and get a really good copy. So, so then, so it's like, with the research then kind of comes the task. It's like, okay, what do you want to find out? And then go from there. It's like, what do you want to learn? Maybe sometimes a friend of mine's want to, they had a family story that they were related to Billy the Kid. I mean, not a direct descendant, but, through, and they thought it was through this one line, and turns out she was, but not through that line.
Oh.
But it's through a different line she was, but, So, but sometimes it's like you always hear something, someone was, my great-great-grandmother was an Indian princess or something like that.
My grandma said we were related to Buffalo Bill Cody.
Maybe are, maybe not. Don't know. That's one of the things that doing research can help you find out. Well, yes or no. And then another thing is like, do you really care if you are or not? That's the other thing. So, but then it's like basically finding out what you want to figure out and then how to do it. And that stuff we can help you find out at the Genealogy Society. It was like, here's what I know. Okay, where can I find this information? We don't have it, because not everyone just grew up and was born, raised, lived, died in Dunn County. I was born in South Dakota. My folks in Minnesota. I'm a transplant to Wisconsin, though I got relatives that immigrated right here, as well as in Dunn County. So we can help you find out. Okay, here's where you can go. So. And yeah, the research like land records. So if they have lands, we got plat maps. So we can tell you, okay, here's where their family farm was. So provided they own the land, because that's what the plat maps. If they rented it, well, you're out of luck now unless you know who actually owned it. But the newspapers, we carry sense of obituary collection that we're almost through indexing. We're actually up to 2021. So it's like, so all the ones from like 1860s on up through 2010, we got indexed. So, and then likewise, we got marriage indexes, and these are all from papers or obituaries that were sent to us. And just newsworthy items, about something that happened, some good, some bad. It's like, maybe some people got really fascinated about murder trials and stuff, some where we had it for whoever got killed, but here's 10 articles about the person accused of killing them. Anyway, church records are great for baptism records, confirmation records. Church records is actually how I got a picture of my grandfather on my dad's side. I was telling you earlier, my dad didn't know who he was, but through DNA. But it's like I knew where he was baptized. I knew where he got his first, where he got confirmed. And so I wrote to him and just said, hey, do you happen to have a picture? Or of the family, because sometimes they take pictures of the entire families. And it's like 3 hours later, they sent me this confirmation picture of the class. So, spitting image of my dad. But anyway, court records, wills, probates. Probate record, that's the only reason why I know my third great grandfather my German ancestor came settled in Dunn County. The only reason I know exactly when he died, because it was in the letter of the statement. And wills and probates can be really dry reading, really dry. But nice thing I like about his probate is it will generally list their children. So it's like I know about these are their 9 kids and where they were, all except for one of them who died, but it's like as a young boy. School records are a great place for getting birth dates. Naturalization records, they're great for finding out where your ancestor was born, where they came from. And then likewise, tax maps or taxes can tell you where they lived. Kind of basically how well they were doing and stuff like that. And can tell maybe what occupation they did. So
are most of those open, like the court records and things, or
you gotta get access?
Some we've got, some you can find online, some you have to go to the courthouse to get.
And so maybe the Dunn County, and then we have to go to
to the various.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, besides us, we're also like the Historical Society. They've got some great stuff, stories. The Wisconsin State Genealogical Society and UW Stout's part of the Area Research Center for the Wisconsin Historical Society. So they have stuff. Then even in Claire, the McIntyre Library, they got a big genealogy department. The Genealogical Research Society of Eau Claire, I can never remember, I just remember GRSOC. They've got a library, and then the Chippewa County Genealogical Society, their library is fantastic. Plus, they have tons of volunteers. They are super organized. I am so jealous. And for whatever reason, up in Chippewa, I don't know, they've just got a lot more people. Because I mean, they say, oh yeah, we probably only had about 60 visitors this month. Wow, that's nice. But anyway, but they've all got resources for the surrounding areas. And likewise, they can all tell you, if they don't have it, they can probably tell you good places where to go to do it. So yeah, it's like the Historical Society and Genealogy Societies. Like I said, we've got a bookcase full of nothing but obituaries and the marriage index, marriage things. And usually they're from papers or stuff that people have sent in. We've got information on the schools, I don't know, about the 60 some odd schools that were in Dunn County, like the one-room schools. Some stuff we only got a little bit. Some I think we got like the photo thing, that's about it. Others we've got more detailed. Some we've even got class lists, and we've got stuff on all the churches in Dunn County, a lot of the businesses in Dunn County. I'm just kind of perusing through. We got like the plat maps, and then we got the biographies. That's kind of like the newsworthy stories of people. And then we've got, we've also got books on, okay, I want to research my German heritage. Okay, we've got books on how to specifically research German records or Norwegian records, Swedish records, French records. We've also got some dictionaries for translating like English to French, English to German, English to Norwegian. So if you do get into those type of records, okay, you can at least maybe figure out what some of the key words are to look for, like baptism, birth, death, marriage, that kind of stuff.
Did many records get destroyed during World War I and II, or?
It depends. There's a lot dead. Like I know Ireland lost a lot of records. In other areas, no, they get bombed or place burns down. It's not like bad backups. It's back before the printing press, where it take months, like maybe in their lifetime they might transcribe 5 books or something. It's stuff. The Menominee State Library's got local history magazines. Courthouse, of course, the court records, land records. Church records would be, marriages, baptisms, even just who the member lists were. Cemeteries and funeral homes, they can have, like, funeral homes would have basically, if you ever had to deal with planning a funeral and stuff, basically the information you give them, they keep a record of. And then they can be kind of limited at sometimes what they'll give back out. And it also depends on, okay, if it's a funeral that happened in 1900, it's like, okay, here you go. If it's something that happened 5 years ago, yeah. Newspapers are a great place, just for getting all sorts of stories, especially like the older newspapers, where it's like, oh, Uncle Charlie went with his wife or they just came back from vacation in Florida, or stuff like that. Lots of it's like they got gossip. I think some we can call it gossip column. But it can also let them know who their friends were. Because sometimes friends, I mean, how many of your friends got stories about you, you know, and vice versa, you know? And then also just meeting with other local genealogists. Because like I said, come to one of our meetings, it's the third Saturday of the month at 10 a.m. They're open to the public. And it's just a great way to just talk to other people. And they can give you ideas. And it's like, now, if someone asked me a question on doing French research, I'd have no idea. But we've got other members that do have French heritage that could help. So yeah, we're open every Tuesday and Friday, noon to 4, and then the first Saturday of the month from 1 to 4. And I think, yeah, I kind of covered all this. You know, yearbooks, we got family township histories. We got a number of family histories. I mean, we got an entire bookcase of family histories that people have compiled and donated. Some is like basic facts, but some there's lots of stories. We got some, I got a couple rows of just stuff people wrote about their military ancestors. And it's like all about their war experience. And then we've got even some bigger things that won't fit on the shelves that got tucked away, but you can get at them. It's because I mean, there's this one. I mean, if I stacked it up, it'd probably go here to about here, and this one family history. I mean, it was like 10 big. It's just wow. So.
And it was all narrative, so like stories.
Yeah.
Plus,
Like stories, documents. I mean, they had actual pictures of census images and birth certificates, death certificates, you name it. I think that was like the wedding family. I think. I don't know. I haven't looked at it about a year or so. But then also just check with other, like I said, other local societies, museums. And if so, yeah. And then if you got actually mementos from your ancestors, actually try to write down a story about that, about what I mean, what's important about this. I mean, I've got this rose-colored water vase that my great-grandfather gave to his wife on their wedding day. And I mean, they used it almost every day. I mean, my uncle can attest to that, you know. And just write down memory, like places you visited, or these are questions you could also ask your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles. Just their memories, where they visited, stories about grandparents. So, and then basically be consistent at how you do things. Because I mean, how I do my family history would probably be different the way you did, the way you do, the way Ron does. We've all got our own process. And when you look at other people's resources, okay, yep, this is yet a different process, but be consistent at how you do things. Because in that way, it's easy to follow, or it's easier to follow. And ideally, when recording dates, typically they'll do the day first, the month and year, whether you do or not. Try to at least do the month, because a lot of times you'll see dates like 7/3/25. Okay, is that July 3rd, or is that March 7th? And there's ambiguity there, and it's all about removing ambiguity. But if you do want to write 3/7/25, fine, but be consistent. So that way, if someone sees 3/28/25, okay, that's March 28th. But then somewhere else, you don't want to see 28/3, which is still March 28th, but it's like, okay, Here they use 320. So what are these other dates where it's 7/3? Is that, you know? And then sometimes you don't know the exact dates, you know. So you could say, you know, it's about, you know, if you look at, say, a census, they'll just say, okay, they were 40 years old on this date. So if you don't know the exact date, okay, they'd be born. Oh, it was 1940 census. They were 40. Okay, they were born about 1900. You know. Sometimes, like in an obituary, they said, okay, they were predeceased by their brother John, you know, or something. Okay, well, this cemetery, or if the person died in 2018, okay, well, her brother John's dead, so okay, right before 2018. But then it's like, okay, maybe I'll look and try to find his obituary. But just trying, there's a lot of stuff on the internet, but there's a lot of stuff that isn't. I mean, more stuff's added all the time, but yeah, the biggest thing, especially to get stories, interview your family members, starting with the older generations. They won't be here forever. And even if, say, you don't have parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, if you got siblings, interview them, because how like an oldest child remembers something and the youngest child completely different. They've all got their different experiences, or maybe sometime they went off with Aunt at night, you know, for a weekend or something, or you know, little special connections. So, and then just get whatever documents you can. I mean, I wouldn't say you have to get documents for everything, but especially, but if you do have something where something's like, well, this says this date, something says this date. A lot of times they're like indexes you're looking at. Sometimes it's like, well, maybe it might be worth getting the actual document and see for yourself. Because there are transcription errors all the time. So, and without seeing it, you don't know if it's in there or not. But yeah, and just even see if they've got any memorabilia. You know, I was one interesting story I got was all from me trying to find out where my second great grandmother was born or was buried. So I knew she was about in Sauk City. Could not find her. Just, I don't know. Maybe she's 150 years old. I don't know, but I can't find her. So it wasn't until I found her youngest son's troop transport log from World War I. Coming back from World War I, it listed Gertrude Lodge, and like Leo is a Fassbender, but in Sauk City, you know, 1918. And so I was like, okay, so let me look for Gertrude Lodge. Couldn't find her. I found a Gertrude Lodge. So okay, it was a typo. Then I eventually did find her marriage. She remarried and had another son, Martin. And I told my uncle this, and said, "Oh, that's who Martin Lodi was." I remember my grandparents talked about him, and I just thought he was a family friend, but didn't realize his family. But then, yeah, he just started telling me stories about Martin Lodi. But yeah, because they played together and stuff like that. So, but you know, so it's like you just never know where the stories will come from. But yeah, and it's like I was saying, just always make a notation where you got it from. You know, maybe it's from Gertrude, or maybe it's just stuff you know, or something your mom or dad said, or maybe you found it at the courthouse. Just record where you got that information, and record everything, even if you think you don't need it. Like I said, I don't know how long as my third great grandfather, where I found out when he died from reading the probate. It's like I don't read the first 2 pages, and then it's like, oh, this is dry. Or it confirmed the 8 living kids, but I was trying to find out. I knew about when he died, but I couldn't find. There's no mandatory death records, and still don't know where he's buried. He's probably buried on the family farm, maybe. That's my project for the summer. So I'm just going to go visit the farm. But, I had his will for like a year. And I finally, now let me read this. I have all those statements, and it's like, oh, that would have saved me a lot of work. But so now for interviewing a relative, and we do have some couple different sets of questions to ask. It's like 100 some odd questions, and like not all reply, but it's good. Just a lot with your cell phones, you can record, or I've actually got a dedicated voice recorder. It's just make sure you got time to talk and not just something on the whim, because this isn't like a 5-minute conversation. And then plan it. Like I said, we've got these research questions at the genealogy. It's like, so if you want a copy, we'll just give it. It's like that word, but back to that. But it's like, okay, it's like, do you know where your parents were born? Where were they born? When? Were they married? Where they live? What schools did they attend? What type of work did your parents do? Who were their parents? Were married? If they immigrated, where they lived? Where did they settle? Were their siblings? Favorite subject in school, stuff like that. And then there's more favorite teachers. There's a lot of questions you wouldn't necessarily think to ask. And some may apply, some may not, but like I said, it was different. And then also don't just concentrate on your direct ancestors. Because like I said, you don't know who got what's memorabilia, what stories. So it's like, I got second, third, fourth, fifth cousins in my tree. And you never know who's going to contact you. I just got contacted 4 months ago about this one lady. She said, well, I'm kind of at the end of my line. I had a brother, he passed away, he didn't have any kids. I don't have any kids. I got like a stepdaughter, but she's not going to. She sent me this old photo album. And with a couple of stories about, and it did have she is like a third cousin to me. It didn't have any of my direct ancestors, but it had some of my ancestors' siblings, or one of the siblings in there. So I got stories about that. So and then just always looking for the bigger picture. What was going on in your ancestors' lives at that time, whenever they moved. We've got books that can describe that, Germany in 1840. Stuff during the war. We've got a resident in Dunn County. Someone had transcribed his diary. Some of the stuff was like, okay, it rained today. But, so it's not all gems, but, it's like, you get to know who his neighbors were and certain big events that happened and stuff. So it all helps to give a bigger picture. And like I said, if you're trying to find out, I've got a perfect case of a son of my third grandfather. It's like when he died. All I know is he's in Moberly, Missouri. I can't find him down there. But I did recently find, and I've still got to explore that, he's got some nieces and nephews, 20 years later, they're in Moberly, Missouri. So it's like, okay, that's plan of attack. I'm going to start researching them and see if they've got descendants. Maybe they may know, okay, why did you go to Moberly? It's like I did a general search. It's like, well, that was kind of a big attraction. This is a big railroad junction. You know, a lot of railroads went through Moberly. So it was a big attraction. And I mean, farming's hard work, you know, it's not for everyone. It's like, I mean, my mom's brother, my uncle, he couldn't get off the farm for fast enough. So, but yeah, it's like, you can't find anything, you know, checking on siblings. Because obituaries and stuff like that can have details of where they were, what was going on, and stuff like that. So, yeah, so that's basically it, you know. So, if there's any questions?
So are you your family like historian? So, or are there others in your family?
Well, how I got started was 14 years ago as a second cousin of my mom's asked through her if I'd be willing to take over the Hall side of the family tree. That's my mom's side. That's what kind of got me hooked. And then I started building out my mom's dad's side and my dad's mom's side. And this is also where talking with other genealogists, because this big family reunion where I really put my printer through the test. Probably about 6 months prior, I just got a new laptop and I was transferring over some files. And I came across this file called the Waller Family Book. That's my mom's dad's side. So it's a family history book written by that. And so I said, well, we're having a Waller reunion in 6 months. I better start looking at this. And I was looking at it and comparing that to my tree, and okay, and it was pretty much driving. Some stuff I had a little bit more detail, some stuff she had a little bit more detail. Until it came to my second great grandmother. We both had completely different sets of parents and siblings. Okay, one of us is wrong. So I started analyzing all my details and found out, okay, I've got the wrong one. But then I started looking at her details. I said, something's not adding up here. Long story short, she had the wrong set of parents too. So this one I contacted Dolores, and she's a fourth cousin of my mom's. Called her on the phone, and I was talking, and it's like, well, long story short, in about 6 months, several phone calls, umpteen emails, we finally found out who her real parents were. But so we were able to get that tree. But if I had never looked at that tree, we would have been both blissfully unaware. And I still got work to do on it because she was the oldest daughter. I mean, she's got like 2 siblings. Then the mother died. She married again. Had about 4 more kids. She died. Married yet again. Had about 3, 4 more kids. So it's like, yeah, that was a fun thing, kind of to wrap up and stuff. But you know, it's like when you get stuff and find these puzzle pieces that fit. It's like
Everyone has said it's a puzzle that
Yeah.
has come and solved without the
Yeah.
research and just like finding things
Yeah.
around it. So, what if you don't have a historian in your family? You know, or like what should we keep, because we're going through lots of papers and documents, and it's like, what shouldn't be lost in the
Well, if nothing else, you can digitize it, you can scan it. And then you can decide then what you want to do, because digitizing, it's a lot easier to buy a spare hard drive than umpteen boxes of
and
stuff.
share it.
Yeah. And then, yeah, then you can share it. And you can share it with family members. It's like, hey, do you think this is important? Like letters, I'd hang on to, because you never know what stories. I mean, Unless it's on, well, I went to the store today, I picked up milk and eggs. But then, actually having a tree out on Ancestry too, you can get people that will contact you, or you can actually search up the trees. It's like, oh, this like Paul said, they've got like a pretty extensive whole thing. You might be able to contact them, and they may have more information, and they may know a family historian on that side. Sometimes you can actually find references because they'll cite a page from a family history book as, okay, this is where I got that information. And that's like, okay, now I want to try to trace down this family history book. And there are sites like archive.org where they got a lot of family histories out there. Just search for a name and fall into my Fassbender side. So it's like I just got to go down to the Historical Society to see it. But actually during COVID, they did photocopy or scan and send some of these pages to me, which was really nice. But I know there's a little bit more information in there. So, but yeah, just having it out there so people can see it, then that gives the option that they will contact you.
You were looking through a box of photos. It was like my grandmother's road trip to the Badlands and the Black Hills in 1930.
Yeah.
2 and 3,
like,
and it's like, okay, well, that's interesting. But
yeah, some of those is like, I know this big picture, these boxes of my mom's, and this one she was first we started knowing she was having some memory issues. And it's like, spent like a week, and because she could only probably do it for about an hour and a half before she'd get, and I'm done with doing this. It's like, okay, is this a picture of friends or is this family? So we're just sorting and stuff. And some of them I knew, oh, this is Jensen's from this one. Okay, I know this is friends and stuff like that.
my grandma was very good about writing the names on the back. So she,
My grandma too.
So who are in her photo.
Yeah. Some are, some don't.
There's a very cool one with the little boards in front of the big rock formations.
There's this really neat photo of this one genealogy I was up in front of it. Chat is a picture, there's this, it's like a family, husband, wife, probably 6 kids, and it's like they literally just came in from the field, overalls, and stuff. And then they got a picture next to this guy, in a suit, bowler hat. It's like, okay, I need to know the story about this. And the husband and that guy in the bowler, they were brothers. And he had come unexpectedly, from Chicago or something. Well, I came all the way here. We need to get a photo. So I was like, break everyone in. So I was like, but yeah, I was like, okay, I just had to hear the story to that photo. But yeah, just ask around because you never know. I mean, even my uncle, it's like about Oregon, it's like he knows all this stuff, but you gotta know the questions to ask.
Get that list.
Yeah. So.
I don't know if they're brilliant.
Like I
I
said,
said any question.
Oh, I thought you said any brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant.
It was interesting to hear all the stuff that's accessible, because I was thinking I didn't think report cards would be accessible, but those are
and you can even find. I was like, oh, they got an A in this and C in this. Okay, so maybe they're really good in math, but not so good in this, or vice versa.
Did schools keep that, or was it in people's personal collections?
That was schools, because this was actually from a school register that became public. Because I mean, The ones that I saw that, because I was able to verify some, the birth date, because it's this, kind of made me think, because I always think of him as Billy, but that's not his name. That was his nickname. I think it's Leo, or, because there's on my grandmother was the oldest of 11 kids. And then one of her sisters kind of got pregnant. So they kind of had a shotgun wedding. And then while she was pregnant, he went and got another one of her sisters pregnant.
Oh, no.
So my great grandpa literally chased him out of town. So, and then up to North Dakota, he finally wound up in Colorado, and I think I found out who he is, but I couldn't verify because then he was always going by Billy and stuff. But I knew when Billy was born and stuff like that, and I was able to find on the school records, which is actually at the Dunn County Historical Society. So, because that's where he was born and raised. It listed his brothers, and then here's Leon, aka Billy, and same birthday. What do you know? So yeah, that was him. So, and then talking to various cousins, they've all got different stories about he chased his butt out of town. Yeah.
Yeah, we find some secrets probably as
Yeah.
you're researching.
But yeah, it's like he married a gal down there, had 2 kids. And then the boy, got married, had a couple more kids. So but yeah, it's just interesting where the stories will tell you and take you. There's still some stories I'm still trying to prove out and stuff like that, but it's keeps you, yes. And I would say it's like they'll occasionally get some like brick walls. It's like when I was looking for my second great grand. I mean, it took me 2 years to do it. Well, I didn't spend 2 years doing it. You can only bang your head up against the wall so long. But just move to a different area, tree, different stuff, and kind of keeps you fresh, and you don't get burnt out on it. So
And so you focused on like all the branches. So
all the branches.
because some people will just focus on one side of it,
Yeah.
right? But yeah. you want-
Yeah, because okay, I can't find. I'm not making headway here. So I'll go over here, work on this side, and then sometimes something will do that. Hey, I found this record here. I wonder if I can try to find a similar record for this one over here. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it always. And then talking to other genealogists, it's like you get ideas. I mean, I've been to some. It's like, oh, you have to try to find information about it. Oh, what do you want to know? So.
Well, thank you so much. This
Yeah,
was
no
so
problem.
informative.
Yeah, stop by anytime. Like I said, noon to 4, Tuesdays, Fridays, I'm there. For Saturdays, 1 to 4, we got another volunteer that helps there. And those times don't work. We can arrange an appointment.
Does the public library have an ancestry, or do you have like
They've got the Ancestry Library Edition, so you just got to be on their network. We do have our own Ancestry subscription, or I do. So I've got the full access to newspapers, Free Ancestry. Plus, we are also a family history or family search affiliate library, which means sometimes at home you may see certain images and they'll say, oh, you have to go to an affiliate library to see this image. Well, if you come to our library and our network, you'll be able to view that image, download it. So And then there's still some that says, no, you gotta go to Salt Lake City. So, okay.
What's the farthest you've gone to find a document?
Farthest I've gone is probably, well, I've actually gone would probably be to Madison. Anything else is like, no, I'll contact someone.
Yeah.
It's like, because there are some like, okay, there's this one record I had to find. It's in New Mexico. Okay, well, I could book plane, flight, hotel, and stuff, or I could pay someone $200 to get the information for me. So that's what I did.
So have you gone back to where the ancestors came from,
No,
or you
no.
just stayed
I
there?
have been to Germany, but it was literally just flying through it, and that was for work, and that was even before I was into genealogy. But I'd love to go to Germany. I'd love to go to Norway. So,
So you kind of know where
Yeah.
they are. So
yeah, because the clone Germany, I know like the Waller farm where it's from, and I've got pictures of that. From Kent, England, and that's like clone Germany area. So, I know where they're from, and well, and I got my great grandmother that's from Prague, so that.
yeah.
Germany and Norway, those are the two big ones I want to go to. But yeah, I just need to find someone to go with because I wouldn't want to go by myself.
Well, it must get harder as you get into the other.
But it is neat because talking with it, because it's one lady, well, the friend that is still in that picture with the farmers and the guy in the bowler hat. 7 of her 8 grandparents were from Norway, and then one's from Sweden. So, and she actually went to Norway 4 times, about 15 years apart. So I learned a lot about Norway from her. So it's just neat talking to someone that's actually been there and stuff. So, I mean, her relatives weren't exactly from where mine were, but they were close. So.
I need to start with the questions so I can get,
Yeah.
get my
Get
mother's
the
story.
questions, yeah, because
My
that's where you
mother's
get
story.
the interesting stories. And, but I mean, if you just concentrate on birth, marriage, death, I mean, it gets kind of dry reading. It's like it's important stuff, but it's not too interesting. So, but you get the stories, and I mean, you'll find good stories, bad stories. I mean, I've got like this one is like a third cousin, and this is like back his late 60s, early 70s. Something happened, I don't know, he's 15, he got arrested. And for whatever reason, I mean, he wound up hanging himself in jail. So it's like, don't know what he did, but he thought he must have, I mean, at 15, everything can be kind of dramatic for teenagers, but still, I mean, but it's like, I haven't been able to find out
The article or whatever.
I haven't been, I don't know why he got arrested. And I mean, I don't know any of the personal family members personally hey, why did he kill himself? And I mean, that's kind of a sensitive subject.
But if you knew where, couldn't you go to because like, doesn't the state of Wisconsin have the open court records? You could see what.
Well, this is in Texas, and I mean, at the time, I haven't tried looking for quite a while.
See what.
I mean, I'd even have to go. I'd have to even go check to see, okay, who was again. All I know is in Texas.
Well, I really appreciate your time and coming to do this presentation.
No
So,
problem.
Thank you. That you tied it all together. So you gave us all the resources now.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much.
No.
Yes.